It's the Let's Go Eat and Drink Show with hosts Jimmy Santangelo and Bill Allred. I'm your announcer, Zach Caity, and we're coming to you live, on tape, from the fabulous recording studio at the Visit Salt Lake Media Center. Our guest today is the best producer in radio, Caity Solo, or as she is also known, Caity for short. Caity is a U of U alumna and is a podcast host / producer for Horror, Cats, and Witch Hats. She's also the best producer the Radio from Hell show starring Carrie, Bill, and Gina has ever had. Caity loves live EDM shows, dinosaurs, and mostly she loves radio. What does it take to produce a top-rated morning show, and which member of the Radio from Hell cast is hardest to work with? Caity spills the beans next.
And now producing the Radio from Hell show, which one of the three members of the Radio from Hell show is your favorite? Which one? Which, Caity?
That's really rude, Bill.
Which one, Carrie, Bill, or Gina, is your very...
And now here are your hosts, Jimmy and Bill.
All right, we're going to do it live, as Bill O'Reilly once said.
We were talking about that earlier.
Okay. Okay, that was Zach. Zach, thank you, Zach.
Thanks, Zach.
Mr.
Kitten. No.
Kitten.
Kitten.
Zach Caity. That's our fine announcer.
Yes.
He says it at the end of the show. I'm Zach Caity.
Zach Caity.
I love the way he talks.
Delightful.
Let's begin now our guest is Caity. Caity for short, as I call her.
Yeah.
Because she started...
Caity Solo.
Caity
Yeah.
Solo.
Legally, yes. Actually, it's really exciting.
Caity Jones, now Soto.
So I don't know if people know why she is the producer of the Radio from Hell show currently.
I am.
But we call her... I think I started it.
You did.
Caity for short, because I said, what's your name? And she said, Caity.
It was my intern interview back in 2017.
And I said, Caity.
So I said it was Caitlin, and I was like, but you can call me Caity for short, because at the time in college I was going by Caity.
And I said, okay, Caity for short.
Caity for short, that's the whole thing. And I was like, okay.
My name is Caitlin, but you can call me Caity for short. Mm-hmm. And I said, okay, you're Caity for short.
And I've stuck with it. It's my Twitter handle.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah, no, it's.
So we're going to get to know Caity in a way that you maybe never have gotten to know her before if you're a fan of the Radio from Hell show.
Ooh, that's true.
But before we do that, let's start with Jimmy. Let's start with this, whatever this is here.
This is fun. This is called King's Ginger. And we'll show it on that. But King's Ginger is a liqueur. It's a Scotch-based liqueur that has ginger and various herbs infused in it. Some might say, ooh, isn't that like Drambuie? But Drambuie is more honeycomb and things like that. Rudd Brothers, well, here, let me read you this.
And you selected this ginger because Caity
is a ginger.
No. Gingers just love ginger.
Gingers love ginger.
Gingers love ginger, whether it's ginger people or ginger the root.
Ginger beer.
So
Yeah,
this
I
is
love
an
ginger.
English liqueur by Barry Brothers and Rudd, which is a family-run British wine and spirits merchant, founded in 1698. Whenever I go to London or I'm in Edinburgh, I always like to go to the Barry Brothers and Rudd stores because you just find things that they're producing for the royal family, such as this was in 1910. This was created, and this liqueur is 82 proof, so it's about 40% alcohol by volume, composed of natural-based grain spirit, ginger, lemon, oil, single malt scotch, and sugar.
Oh.
So I raise you a glass of King's Ginger.
And can you get this in the liquor store here?
No. It was hard to find in the
special.
States. It was only available, I searched it down in Massachusetts at this tiny little shop. And I sent my father-in-law there. Thanks, Dennis. I sent him there to go buy it, and then he bootlegged it over here.
That is amazing. Put a little bit of ice in this. You put just one ice
Oh yeah, it
circle
should be a little
or
colder. Well,
Death
that's
Star,
tasty.
actually. I want
Well,
a
that
Death
lemon
Star ice
comes
cube.
through too.
Yeah.
It's so
The
well, and I
ginger.
love lemons, so this is
This is very
This is
tasty.
wonderful.
You know, those Royals, hey, they knew what
They
to-
get some good stuff.
They get some-
Now let's get to Caity, shall we?
Okay.
And then we'll come back.
Our other favorite ginger,
Yes.
Queen Ginger.
I'm going to read this.
It was Kiss of Ginger the other day.
I'm just going
National
to.
Kiss of Ginger Day.
That's right. I'm going to read this little bio. Caity is a radio producer for Radio from Hell, Broadway Media, and podcast host as well. She's a producer for Horror Cats and Witch Hats.
Correct.
Is that what it's called?
Yeah.
She does this show with her sister, Izzy, and you just talk about horror movies.
Yeah, so this is my lifelong best friend. I've known her my entire life. Our families have been together for probably over 100 years.
You're not that old.
Well, so our grandmothers were best friends. Our moms, our dads, our older brothers, and us, we've
Wow.
yeah, it's been perfect. She's 2 years older than I am, and we've always been together. We always traveled together.
So what is this podcast?
So
what do
we
you do?
review horror movies and go into depth and go into black holes about theories about horror movies. We've done the Scream series. We actually just released the first half of Sweeney Todd that we're finishing up.
So what's
Nice.
Now I can't think of the name of the horror movie that I mentioned on the show the other day. That experimental horror movie.
Oh, you were talking about, it is on,
You can find it on YouTube.
it is
apparently.
the weirdest.
It's on Shudder.
Yeah, it's the most interesting thing. It has almost no sound, but like whispers. It's filmed in old time.
I can't think of the name
It'll
of it.
come to you, it'll come
You've
to you.
seen it though?
Dawson, look it up. Yes, I have.
You have seen it.
It's
Dawson, look it up.
come on, producer.
Damn it.
Come on.
Go, Dad.
Give me a second.
I always
I'm
have
trying.
these answers for them.
Yeah.
I know how to do this job.
My kid.
I'm trying.
My kid showed it. Yeah. Normally it would be me yelling at Caity. Caity, look that up.
Is it? I think it starts with an S.
I don't remember.
Anyways, Dawson, if you can find it, it's
All right.
super weird. But yes, I know what you're talking about.
Okay.
It-
Anyway, so you do that.
Yeah.
In 2022, Caity married Andhie, and they both changed their last names to Solo
Yeah.
because legally you've done this.
No, yeah, legally. I actually just went to Social Security to get my new card. So my last name was Jones, which there are so many Joneses in the world. I went to England and Ireland, Scotland, and Wales, and we went to old grave sites, and every other headstone was Jones.
Now, Caity, but people are not trying to keep up with the Solos. People are always trying to keep up with the Joneses.
My brother stole the print that I wanted of that. I'll always be a Jones at heart, but my husband looked at me one day and he's like, he's like, we should just change our last names to Solo. And
What's Andie's last name?
Widener.
Widener.
Yeah, and we weren't going to continue the family line. We don't want children and stuff, and so we decided to kind of just start something on our own for fun. And I agreed to Solo because I love Star Wars as much as he does, and now it is legally Solo.
Hans Solo.
Correct.
Hans.
Yeah.
Are you of the Hans?
The Hans. I'm distantly related now. I don't think that counts,
No,
but
it doesn't. Let's see now. It says Caity started working in college radio at K-UTE up at the University of Utah. Graduated with a BA in communications. Started as an intern, X96 in 2017, where she got the nickname Caity for short.
yeah, I annoyed the shit out of Richie until he let me be an intern.
And you weren't getting paid.
I was.
Oh, were we paying interns
The
at
very minimum.
when we first started having interns on our show?
You didn't have to pay them.
No, you didn't have to pay them. And then somebody along the line fucked that up. And now we have to pay them, and I can't ask them to get me coffee.
I mean, you could. I'm sure they would still do it.
I
I
know
went and got
they
you
would.
food, for
I know.
God's sakes.
If
back
I
in the
asked
day.
Dawson, if I pathetically said, "I'm really busy. Would you mind grabbing me a cup of coffee?"
Sure.
He'd go,
Thank you.
Well, sure, it'd be okay.
Who's the
used to-
talent? I
Because
gotta
if
put it on.
Dawson said to me, Bill, I'm really terribly busy right now. Could you grab me a cup of coffee? And I'd say, fuck off.
I mean, I used to go to the Market
Equal,
Street
equal.
or whatever it was across the street to get everybody food when I was an intern.
Oh, yeah.
So.
Let's see. So then Caity became the producer of the show, and she's just been doing a bang-up job.
Thank you.
Let's see. You started doing that in
2019.
2019. And
April 8th was the official day. I don't know why dates stick in my head so
Wow,
well, but
nice.
they do. April 8th. I also got in a car accident on April 1st, so
Katie's,
that also
no fooling.
Katie's hobbies and interests are just multitudes of different things. Festivals, live shows, EDM, making music, dinosaurs, adventures and being outdoors with her animals, horror movies, soccer, golf, beer, friends, and much more.
My Lord.
As I was saying to you before the podcast began, you're kind of a weird combination of very odd things
Thanks.
and very traditional, kind of down to earth things.
Yeah. I think it's a lot of ADHD and things like that, but I don't know. I'm very all over the place with certain things.
Who's your dealer with ADHD? I'm looking for.
Where can I get some good ADHD? It's interesting. Caity is you wouldn't think, at being into all of this kind of stuff, that she would also be the sort of person who's extremely organized, almost over-organized, I would say.
To-do sheets that I write out personally every single day. An entire book that's just every single day's calendar, so I can keep on track with everybody's segments, including ours. I can schedule out for months in advance if I can have the written out book. It's all hand done, but it also really helps. I think it's a sensory thing for me.
I find that too. Actually, I used to try and do. I've mostly just kept handwritten schedules and journals for years and years. But I thought, God, I'm wasting all this fucking paper, and
I thought that too.
So I went online and tried to do all that stuff online.
How'd that work out for you?
It just doesn't work as well. It's not as tactile. It's not as.
You need that pencil to paper feel. I think.
Yeah, I like the physical form of it for sure.
So, as producer of the Radio From Hell show, I can tell that you like doing it.
It's a dream come true.
You really like it when you get on the air.
It's really fun. I love being able to cover for you guys. I honestly, for the years that I got to run the board during COVID while you guys worked from home, were some of my favorite days, just because it is my absolute dream to run the board and to do that kind of stuff.
Well, it was because all you guys were at home and it was just her and I with all the booze.
Exactly. I got to take it all home consistently. It was the best thing in the world.
You still do, usually.
I do. That's true. I get offered the booze all the time, and my husband keeps going, "Where are you getting this?" And I say, "It's my bonus."
I got a guy.
So when Jimmy comes in and does a segment, generally he'll leave whatever bottle it is behind.
Yeah.
And 90% of the time, we'll all say, Caity, why don't you take that?
I ask them what they want to do with it, and I just make sure that I give them the option to take it if they want, and then if they don't, then I take it home and I drink it for D&D on the weekend.
Every once in a while, if it's gin, I'll say, no, that's mine.
I don't take the gin. I give the gin to everybody. I do. I'm not a fan of gin.
Did you listen to Radio From Hell growing up?
Yeah. So.
And you still wanted to work with it?
Well,
These guys.
Fun fact: I really wanted to be a veterinarian, and then I realized I could never put animals down nor do the science. And I listened to you guys when I was growing up, and I remember telling my mom, and she talks about this, that someday I wanted to be like you guys, and I wanted to do what you do and be on the radio. And I don't know why, I've always loved radio in general. So when I got the option to get Richie's contact, I jumped.
Richie was our
former producer.
Yeah. I served him in a restaurant one time with him and his fiancée at the time, and I did all non-alcoholic teas. I stood to pair with it. They didn't drink any of it.
I'm sure.
Richie, if you're listening, you should have had somebody.
But
He's not.
I annoyed the shit out of him. Email after email, because he was terrible at getting back to you. And so my parents taught me the squeaky wheel gets the oil. So I annoyed him until he replied and said, "You can intern." And then I just weaseled my way into promotions and happened to fall in the right place at the right time with you guys going, "Hey, can you cover?" And then one day it went, "You're producing on Monday."
Oh.
And I went, "Oh, fuck."
Yeah, now what?
Yeah, we won't go into it, but we had a crisis and we needed a producer right away.
Yep.
And we wanted to hire a producer from within. Because people who knew and loved the show. And there were several people who worked for us who really thought they wanted to be the producer of the show.
I was interim producer at the time, and they were like, "Just apply for this." And I was planning on moving out of state at the time. I was going to move to Colorado that August.
We're from Grand Junction, right?
I'm from So Grand Junction is home to me. Ooh, sorry. And then we were planning on moving to Longmont, which is over kind of next to Fort Collins. And they were like, we want you to apply really bad. And I was like, okay, let's see where this goes. And then
it was, I'll tell you honestly.
It took 4 months.
It was touch and go.
It took 4 months, yeah. And
I really considered everybody really hard. I mean, I forget who, I remember it was you and Crystal, and I forget who else.
Me, Crystal, I want to say Chunga was trying to come back.
Okay.
I don't remember.
No, that would never have happened.
That's fair. That's fair. I don't remember who it was.
I can't remember who else, but
I know
you
it was
and Crystal,
Crystal.
both gingers.
Yeah. I love Crystal. Crystal Nichols is amazing. She's a beautiful woman.
Yes, she is. So we have, and you got it. And
yeah.
I have not been sorry for that since from day one.
Well, that's really good to hear.
there's a
That makes
cheer.
me
You
feel
weren't
so
my
much
first
better.
choice.
There's got to be a cheer.
Well, God damn it.
You weren't. I mean, I'll just be honest.
I mean, that's fair. No, that's fair.
I was kind of leaning toward somebody else. I won't say who. It's the only one I remember, the one we just mentioned. I was kind of leaning to it, but as we talked about it, and Carrie and Gina, and I said, yeah, you're right. You're right. Okay, I agree. I agree.
To good choices.
Well, thank you.
Choices that work out well.
Thank you.
It's interesting that
Slancha, as I like to say.
we do that. I think we do that pretty well. Our show does that quite well. The staff of our show, the three of us that host the Radio from Hell show, and Todd, and we always discuss things and listen to each other's arguments and we come up to it with the decision. I never regret the decision, even if I don't agree with them for a while. I don't really regret the decisions we end up making.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
I'm glad
That's a
to
good
hear.
team.
I'm glad to hear that. Yeah, I think we work well together.
So you're producing a radio show. I'm going to throw a question in here.
Sure.
You're
Yeah.
producing a radio show. Successful.
You're the
This
co-host,
is your-
Jimmy. You can ask a question
Yes, sir.
anytime you want.
I'm not just the highlight reel. over
No.
here.
You're not just here to be
No,
a pretty
you're
face.
Comedy relief.
You're not just here to be a pretty face.
There you
Ask
go.
questions.
The Vanna White. You're producing a show, that radio show that you love, that like your dream job. Is radio going to be the medium? Do you ever see TV or movie or shorts? Like, what is in that field? What's that spectrum?
Radio has always been my main focus. As soon as I got into college, I went to the radio stations. When I viewed colleges, I went around to different ones in different states, and the first thing I wanted to do was go see their radio stations. And it was always something that I wanted to do. I wanted to be a journalist for a long time and just kind of be that investigative journalist and stuff like that. But I realized my biggest pull was to radio because I found it really fun to be able to share my opinions on air and share music. And so I plan to stay in radio for the most part. I'd like to. I mean, if I've been in a commercial for the Advocates and stuff like that. So I mean, I'm happy to do those kinds of things, and I think it'd be fun. But I like radio.
Give people an idea of what you do every day just to produce the most important radio broadcast that has ever been on the air.
So the night before the show, I set up all of our sponsors and the ad libs that we do in our schedule. I have a whole rundown in schedule with hours or the segments, the times, what's going to run with songs, news, whatever, that I set every day. And then I distribute all the ad libs. We get the show going with the live stream that we do on YouTube every day. I have the interns come in. We start that up. We get it posted on our webpage.
Thanks, Dawson.
Thanks, Dawson.
Dawson and Macy. Thank you,
Dawson
Macy.
and Macy.
She brings
She's
out the
not here.
bludgeon, and I do it.
She's not here, or I would have said thanks.
I mean, that's fair. But and then as the show goes, we edit through all the live pieces. We put together the podcast slowly as I edit out weather and traffic and
Pre-edits.
yeah,
So
just things that
so
don't
the
need to
show
be.
is being edited for podcast
As
as
it
the show
goes.
is going on.
Correct. So each segment that's done when we go to break.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, each segment
I
when we
thought
go
it was
to
all
break, I
post,
pull
right?
it all down and I edit it during the
Edit
breaks
and
as
post.
fast as I can, which gives me 3 to 4 minutes. If we have songs, about 8 minutes, and that gives me a chance to get all that pulled down really fast and try and piece it really quickly so the interns have less edit time.
We appreciate that.
It's funny when the show's going on, that's almost your, I don't want to say it's your downtime, but it's in the between the breaks that you're like rifling, you're always on the phone, you're doing something, you're petting a dog, you're like your legs up, doing
Vax is, normally Dawson and Macy are playing with the dog. But normally during the show, if we're taking calls, I get the calls on, I screen the calls. If I got to get a web post made before a segment, I get that up and going.
Any crazy calls? Anybody like just calls and starts swearing? Like, what's the most odd call? You got a well-behaved cast in the morning.
We have some pretty nice
listeners.
people. Most people are pretty understanding, and I have a whole. It's like it's scripted in my head, but it's make sure you listen through your phone. Don't make sure you listen through your phone, not the radio. Don't swear. I'm gonna put you on hold, and they'll bring you on as soon as they can.
She said that to me once. Don't swear. I'm like,
I say it to
I never thought I was gonna. Now all I want to do.
I say that to everybody because there are times where even Dr. Cobble has slipped up.
Yes.
And so
Really?
And so you have to press the big red button. And I remember always being ready with the big red button.
What's interesting about that to me that you just said was, though, I love that. I'm going to put you on hold, and they'll come to you as soon as they can.
Yeah.
I mean, that's.
Yeah.
Do you ever check in with them if they've been on hold for a while? And say,
so like if we're
hang in there.
if we're going on to commercial break and they've been on hold for a
Check
second,
in.
and then I'll pull them up and I'll be like, hey, we're going into commercial break. Stay on the hold. We'll bring you on as soon as we get back.
I love that.
Yeah, it's good.
I don't know if this is interesting to people in general.
Yeah.
This
is riveting.
For those that want to be in radio, which at least I've found 2 people that are willing to do this. Yeah, this is.
So I'm going to ask you a question that will put you on kind of on the spot.
Okay.
As you listen to the Radio from Hell show growing up and now producing the Radio from Hell show, which one of the 3 members of the Radio from Hell show is your favorite? Which one? Which? Katie,
That's really fucking rude, Bill.
Which one, Carrie, Bill, or Gina, is your very?
Each
They
of you,
all have their qualities.
each of you actually have your qualities that Yeah, the interns are my favorite. They help me out the fucking most. No, each of you have your qualities that I've loved. I think I probably look up to Carrie most, just because running the board.
Seatbelt them in.
Okay.
But running the board is something huge that I've always wanted to do, and I love doing. I don't know why,
Carrie
but I
does
love
that exceptionally well.
I love the knobs and the toggles. I like to think that I got pretty good at it during COVID. I did it for almost 3 years.
You ran the board a couple of weeks ago on a Friday.
Yeah, I cover for Bill. I cover for Carrie all the time when I can.
You keep thinking Carrie, but Bill is the
See
name
how
on
that
your
slipped
lips.
in?
I love.
See how that little Freudian slip there?
I love Bill. Bill has always had my back. He is such a huge supporter, even if I wasn't your first choice as producer.
I should never have admitted that.
So
Hey, Bill, I'll get you coffee.
there.
No, it wasn't. You weren't my first choice. It's just not the.
I wasn't your first choice. It's
No,
cool.
I-
It's cool. It's fine. It's fine.
Okay, fine.
Mistakes were made.
Sorry.
I'm not going to take it to heart, but each of them have had. Each of you I've looked up to in certain reasons. Gina for being the only female on the show.
And the sweetest. I mean, she. So of the 3 of us, Gina's my favorite because she can take a punch. I mean,
She's such a badass.
My God.
That
She'll
woman,
throw back.
she's also the most innocent fucking person I think I've ever met in my entire life.
I can throw anything at her, and
She's got the best shield.
Yeah.
It'll bounce off.
I
And
made her cry one time, and that made me feel really bad.
Oh, I bet. I can't imagine
I don't
that.
even remember what it was, but
I think you've made everybody cry at least once.
only once.
For me, actually, yeah. So far, only once. So there.
Even
You've even yelled at me on air.
I yelled at you on air.
Yeah, we had a confrontation about technology. I have a best of recording of it.
Really?
Fantastic.
I
Tell me what
record
it
best
is.
ofs. I record best ofs all the time, Bill. Everything that we do.
I mean, but tell me why did I yell at you on air?
It was a technological something. I don't exactly remember the details, but it's called Bill's issue with Katie's technology, I think. Something of that sort.
I'd love to hear it.
I can look it up
Did I yell at
tomorrow.
you, or did I just put on my stern voice?
I think it was your stern voice.
I just put on my stern
You have
voice.
yelled at me
Katie.
once, but that was
Katie.
forever ago. I can't think of the last time that you
I
actually
think
got mad at
Bill's
me.
gotten a little softer over the years, actually.
I think COVID
he-
made him soft.
Okay.
What?
I'm just
Fuck both of you. Let's move off of the Radio from Hell show because it's getting way too uncomfortable for me.
Okay.
These are questions I think that Dawson wrote down.
Yeah.
All right.
Why can I
Let's see how he does
raise?
my job. I love this. This is
Best
such an
advice you
interesting
would give
site.
to anybody who wants to work in radio.
For those that want to work in radio, be persistent and don't be afraid to take air checks and hold on to the ones that you think are great or interesting. I used to write things down for Richie, the old producer. I used to write stuff for his blogs and things, and I would save them in a document of my own to have references to continue on in the radio industry. Intern, start fucking interning. I know it's not good pay, but it gets you in the door. I have had so many interns that start with me, and then I'm like, hey, do you want to go into promotions, which is where you're doing remotes. I used to do build outs for our concerts and stuff, so I'd build a stage, and you can weasel your way in there just like I did.
Nice.
So be persistent.
But please don't hang on to air checks where Bill yells at you.
Too late.
Best advice, oh no wait, worst experience ever working a concert.
I think I know this one.
What do you got?
What do you think?
Give her
Steve
a cue.
Aoki cake.
Oh, fucking Steve
What?
Aoki cake. God fucking
What?
damn it!
Oh, okay.
Okay, so Steve Aoki, it was the Salt City Live shows, right?
Guitarist.
So he's an EDM DJ, and he does
Is that
this
a
thing.
drug, EDM, or is that a type of music?
Electronic dance
Yeah,
music.
Oh my God! Sorry. My Gen X is coming out.
If you need a boner, you take EDM.
I'm a big raver. I go to all the festivals. I go to the raves. I go to all the dubstep stuff. I like the heavier dubstep, which is a subgenre of EDM. Anyways, Steve
Aoki, I thought,
How do you keep
he's
it
a
all
guitarist,
checked?
right?
It's just
No,
punk rock,
he's
new
not.
wave,
No.
rock and roll.
but he does this thing where he likes to throw cakes into the crowd and
Paint?
throw cake.
Okay.
Like actual
Oh,
sheet
you've
cakes.
told. I remember you talking about this.
This fucking time, this dude comes out with 11 goddamn cakes. 11 fucking sheet cakes from Costco, the big ones. And he's throwing them out to the crowd.
Where was this?
This is at the Gallivan Center.
Jeez.
And
Clean up, aisle 4.
And again, I was working, these were 22-hour days. I mean, we were working from sun up to sundown. And so when everybody left, I got put in charge of washing the fucking barricades with all of this cake smashed into it, and all I had was a hose with freezing cold water.
By the way, Katie does not speak this way normally.
No.
on
No,
camera.
I only do it when I
sailor,
get
this
really. No,
girl.
I'm actually a very big sailor. Dawson can attest for this. I swear all the time, but I'm very good when it comes to my job.
What's your best experience at a concert?
I got engaged at my favorite music festival in the world, and we got married. We tied a horsehair in a knot and drank dinosaur blood at Lost Lands.
Lost Lands is a big EDM.
My favorite music festival, the Dinosaur Festival I tell you about that I leave.
Every year. Where is it? In
It's
Iowa?
in Thornville, Ohio.
Ohio, yeah.
A tiny little town in Thornville, Ohio, and it has life-size dinosaurs and heavy dubstep and EDM music.
And now let me ask you about this, and I think I've kidded you about this on the air occasionally. These Lost Lands and other EDM festivals
bring
like
up the
this.
drugs, huh?
Yeah.
I fucking knew it.
So everybody does drugs at these things.
No, not everybody. A lot of actually, there's a lot of sober ravers and stuff like that. But you can. I mean, a lot of people do drugs. Yes, that's honest. A lot of people do the drugs. If you do, there's this really cool pop-up tent that
I
comes
have a
every single
church
year.
that you might be interested in.
Yeah,
I'm gonna say no to that. Organized religion is not my thing.
we just interviewed Steve.
Oh, the
Urquhart.
mushrooms.
Yeah.
Look at this. I would microdose on mushrooms any day.
Sure.
I think that would help my ADHD so fucking much.
Well,
We got a
You're
guy.
probably right.
Yeah. But there is a cool like testing pop-up where you can take your drugs and get them tested, make sure there's not any like fentanyl or anything, and then if it's clean, they'll give it back to you.
Oh.
Those are the
That's
good
nice.
drugs.
Yeah, those are the good drugs. But then there's a lot of people that are just stoners, those that just want to drink. It's anybody and everybody goes. I want to be that 75-year-old raver that still goes to festivals. Like, that's my plan in the future, so.
Yeah, and it would seem
We all
to
have
me,
our goals.
Yeah, exactly. Bucket list right there.
It would seem to me, too, that, you're pretty straight arrow for the most part. I mean, you drink and, being caught up in the whole atmosphere of that thing, I don't even know if I'd need to do drugs. It would just
Not
be
necessarily. The ambiance and it's so wonderful. It's so beautiful, and the experience itself. The stage is massive. If you love the music, the people are pretty great, and you actually have a fair amount of space. I do get VIP every year because the bathrooms are fucking worth it. The bathrooms themselves have actual
you buy
flushes.
VIP tickets.
Yeah, it's a little more expensive, but it's totally worth it.
I get to go to the clean toilet.
Yeah.
Those are the ones on a little
They provide
trailer.
tampons and pads.
Nice.
And they also have
then I'm buying it.
They have locking doors and flushing.
Yeah.
It flushes.
Well, there you go.
Nice.
And they're air conditioned or heated, depending
Yeah,
on
they're
what you need.
countertop ones with the sink, and you got the stuff.
It's in the trailer.
I know.
They're great. I love those.
I got you.
Now, Jimmy, are you going to have a splishy splash of news here with
I
us?
sure am.
So while you're
splash
getting
of
that ready,
news.
let me just ask Katie about your tattoos. I don't. You can't probably catalog all of them at this point, or can you?
Most
Quickly?
of them, actually. So I have Sweeney Todd and Mrs. Lovett portraits on my feet.
You have what?
Sweeney Todd and Mrs. Lovett portraits on my feet.
Oh, I've never seen that.
Yeah,
That's
full
kinda
color and
interesting.
everything. I got pictures I can show you later. I have a cat on a moon on this ankle. I have a mushroom or a frog on a mushroom on this ankle that matches with one of my absolute best friends, who I call my twin. His name is Corey, and my husband. We all have matching tattoos. I have a beautiful wrap around my leg that just has a mandala that goes down my calf. I have 13 and 31 tattooed on my hips.
13 and 31.
They are my lucky numbers.
Okay.
Always have been. Lucky numbers are great. I have both my collarbones done. This one says "We're all we need" with a matching tattoo with my old best friend Marley. This one is a moon, and then it says "My shining moon's keeping me alive and well," which is for Corey, who traumatically, do you remember 2020 when I came back from my birthday and I was super traumatized and sad? He went down with a seizure in the middle of the show.
Yeah.
So, and I was the one that was there through the whole thing, keeping him alive, basically. So
Resuscitation,
that's what he
yeah.
said to me after after everything. So, and it was on my actual birthday itself, which made it harder. So my birthday is always a little rough.
Yeah,
It's like it's
passing
a bittersweet
day.
kind of thing.
Yeah.
So there's that, collarbones. I have Ghostface, a pumpkin, Michael Myers thorn. I have Freddy Krueger right here with his actual signature. I have Michael Myers on the back with a
With
knife.
his actual signature, because Freddy Krueger is a real person.
It's Robert England's signature. He
Yeah.
signs tattoos
Wow.
for free. So
No
I got
shit.
it. I walked up to him. I met him really quickly, and he signed my skin. And then I went and got it tattooed that night.
So they were able to just
Yeah,
literally.
just right over the Sharpie, just tattooed on it.
Wow.
I have my Triceratops, which will soon be another full sleeve in the same fashion.
Dinosaur.
I like that. It's kind of crazy, sketchy.
And then it slightly
kinda-
looks like the mountains in the back, which is kind of a tribute
Let's
to
see.
Yeah, there's
Utah
a
and
lot
Salt
of
Lake
depth
and
there.
stuff.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, I think the next one I want to do is probably my Dilophosaurus.
How about faces? Face tattoos ever?
No, I don't.
Good.
I have behind my neck tattooed, and I
Yeah.
have my finger tattooed.
Yeah.
My raptor claw. I mainly got this because when I was covering back in 2020, and I had my laptop set up as my webcam for our thing, I would sit there and tap my finger. And so I did. I got that tattooed on my finger. So
Like
when
the- yeah.
I would tap it, it was like a raptor. Fun fucking fact.
I feel like a wuss. I got an eagle on my thigh.
I also have my
Why?
spinal tattoo. You have an eagle on your thigh?
I do. It was going like this, and it was such a cool scene.
Here, take
There was
off
a
your
guy, a
pants.
fly fisherman in the
Drop
stream,
him.
but in a fish flying, it just hurts so much.
Oh, so you're going to have a whole tableau
I
there.
just got one.
I do have my spinal tattoo that I got for my wedding, which is the moons, the moon phases. And in the mandala, I actually have the moon phases as well. I have a lot of moons. I like moons, guys.
Are you going to ever
I have
stop?
matching sun too from my moon.
You ever going to stop?
No, I love tattoos. I love my tattoos. They're an expression of who I am. I have a pumpkin right here. That's actually my newest one. I have a old school pumpkin that kind of looks like the old school Disney.
Jack-o'-lantern?
Yeah. That looks like an old school Disney cartoon kind of thing, like the dancing skeletons.
You are just a walking, talking story.
Look, I was like your son. I worked at the haunted house for years. Halloween's my shit. I'll until I die.
All right, Jimmy, splishy splash of news.
All right. Wow. Whew.
She's a lot, isn't she?
Yeah, I got my eagle tattoo for independence. It was kind of a sign of freedom.
Okay.
Anyways, I'm over it. It's fine.
I have
Jimmy's
Buddha.
free.
a lot of
Buddha.
50-minute hour sessions. Okay, here we go. A little splash of news here. New York Times explores. Okay. Plating trends. I'm a big food and beverage guy. Plating trends in recent.
No, wait, plating. You don't
Play
mean
like
chrome
food
plating.
plating.
Decoration?
Like the art of arranging food.
It's a huge deal. I watch a lot of cooking shows, mainly Gordon Ramsay's shit.
Yeah?
And it's a big deal to plate stuff nicely. So
The latest fashions, fads, and follies. This is a recent article. At the restaurant Ilis in Brooklyn, your smoked tomato and clam dashi arrives in a giant clamshell sealed with beeswax and roped shut. Or at Knack's in the East Village, bites of beef tartare on crisped beef fat are ferried to your table on a cow horn.
Oh my God.
The post-plate era of fine dining is in full swing. Chefs at influential restaurants around the world are sending out food on services like a pink silicone tongue, a bird's nest, a gilded picture frame, and an egg-shaped porcelain pedestal.
I would say if the food is worth eating and stands up to things, don't do that.
You don't have to.
No, why
It's
would
like
you do
you're
that?
distracted, like, look at me,
Yeah.
and then you do the thing.
it's a lot of work.
So the classic plating technique that I grew up with in the hospitality industry is the French tradition of, it's the o'clock rule. Like your plate is like a clock,
Okay.
right? So you place the protein and sauce at 6 o'clock, vegetables at 2, and starch at 10, all on a spotless white porcelain plate.
Hey, if they don't touch, I'm happy as shit.
Let me ask you this: where do you stand now? When I have dinner just at home, I have my plate of food, and if we're having salad, I like to have my
side
salad in a bowl.
Okay.
My wife and my kids kind of follow along with this. They put everything on the same plate. They put the data and the salad on the same plate.
So in my family, it's interesting because I grew up with having salad after dinner in the same pasta bowl. So you'd have a little red sauce in there, but it didn't matter.
Sure.
Because you'd hit the olive oil and the balsamic, and then you toss everything together so there'd be a little tomato in there. And that would help in the digestion, having your greens after dinner. My kids and my wife, they all do it. They have their greens before and or during in a separate bowl.
In a separate bowl, though.
In a separate bowl, though.
For Christmas, I got a plate that has separate sections, so nothing touches.
So you're like a fifth grader in
I
school
don't
lunchroom.
like when my food touches.
You should just get you a school tray.
That's what I told people. My uncle used to make the joke that he would, and I was like, "Fucking bet."
You don't
do
like
it.
your food to.
I don't like
My
food to
family
touch.
makes fun of me because I often end up with what they call Dad's food pile.
With everything mixed up.
and
My sister
I
loves
don't,
doing
I don't do it all the time, but there are something I end up with this big pile of stuff. It's everything mixed together.
No, I used to have like 3 different plates.
Katie, do you eat mashed potato bowls?
What?
Not really.
Like a
unless-
bowl of mashed potatoes and other good junk.
No, I just gravy.
That's Dawson. He starts with
Just
the mashed
gravy.
potatoes, and then it doesn't matter what he puts on top of it.
Look,
It's
mashed
the base.
potatoes are the shit. Potatoes in general, guys. It's
my
Irish
God.
in me, but potatoes are home. I love potatoes.
Yeah.
Well, that's your splash of news.
All
Love
right.
it.
Well, then that's the end of the podcast as far as I'm concerned. Caity Solo, Caity for short, our fine producer of the Radio from Hell show. Have you had a good time?
I have. It's very cool to be on the other side of things and actually have like a video setup. This is super fancy.
For a cheers at the end here, a little splash.
Happily, this stuff
Tiny.
is so good. Oh, little
This is-
splashes.
again,
Love
what is
it,
this,
Jimmy.
Jimmy?
I love your little splashes. God damn.
What is this called?
This is King's Ginger, not available in the state stores.
How much would it cost you if you could buy it?
In the 70s.
$70.
Yeah, it's a nice,
No
it's
wonder
a
it's
fine
so damn
product,
good.
and this is something that was established by, it's intended for the Lords of London.
The Lords.
Of morning
The
radio.
Lords of Morning Radio.
There you go.
Boom, it
You
comes
haven't
back.
said that often, have you? Is that
No, I
On
sort
here?
of
No,
stole-
you say it every day though.
I sort of stole that from somebody. It doesn't matter who the morning show was; they're not together anymore.
Yeah.
And they were in on the East Coast, and I think there was an announcer who used to refer to them as the gods of radio. The gods.
I like the Lords.
The
better.
gods of radio.
Well, to you, Caity, to much success in the future. Congratulations
Thank
on
you.
your marriage
Cheers.
and to
Thank
more
you.
tattoos.
You fucking bet.
Cheers to, I swear a lot, but Jesus
Sláinte.
Christ.
No, I am a straight
mouth
up sailor.
on this girl.
When I am not on air, I'm so good at holding it on air. But the minute I'm not, my mom is kind of ashamed of me sometimes.
Listen, ask us
Comes
anything. We will answer your questions if you have them. Just send them to theletsgoeatshow@gmail.com. And or you could just send us an email that says, "Stop what you're doing." We'll be fine with that. I'm Bill Allred, Jimmy Santangelo, our guest Caity Solo, and now we're going to hear the velvet voice, Zach Kitty. Kate, Cat.
Thanks for joining us for another episode of the Let's Go Eat and Drink Show with Jimmy Santangelo. You can contact Jimmy at www.thewineacademyofutah.com. As for Bill Allred, it might be best to just leave him alone. Comments, questions, or angry complaints to the management should be directed to the Let's Go Eat Show at gmail.com. The Let's Go Eat and Drink Show is produced by Dawson Dow. Our theme music was composed and recorded by Doug Wild. Recording facilities as needed are by the Visit Salt Lake Media Center at www.visitsaltlake.com. The show is a Double Plus production. I'm Zach Caton. I am also a Double Plus production.